back to another episode of Orinda Talks. And today, as you see, we have a video recording. And this subject is to my heart. It's one of my favorite fantasy book series, Dragan Duma. And I already have done an episode of it. I thought when I this podcast called Orinda Talks Fantasy and Sci-Fi. I thought it was the second or the third one episode was already about Dragon Duma, but today I kept my promise, and today we are having a nice conversation with the actual writer or author of this book series. And so I'm really, really, really excited. Well, guys, I am very, very honored and very happy that the author and writer of the Dragon Duma series is here for this episode. Welcome, Patty.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, great. It's hot here. How's the weather in the Netherlands?
Hot, very hot. Yeah, it's un-Dutchly hot.
So can you introduce yourself to the to my listeners, who you are, what you're doing, and to start with
Okay,
Dragon Duma?
I'm gonna try. English is not my native tongue because, yes, I am Dutch. So I'm gonna try. I'm Patty van Delft. I am a Dutch fantasy author. I've written the Dragon Duma series, and I'm busy writing the Terrace Alta series. Dragon Duma is high fantasy. It takes place on a parallel planet, and I'm very happy to announce that one of the books of Dragon Duma, the standalone in the series, is translated to English. So
I was
you
waiting
could
for
read
this,
it.
guys. I was waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a Dutch book translated to English, not the translation itself, because we have very good translators,
Mm,
but to get it published in English, because we're such a small country, it's very hard to find a publisher or an agent who's willing to go with it. So I decided to self-publish the English
oh,
book, and yeah, that was quite an adventure, I must say.
I can imagine that. I see it with myself. Like I said, I have written my own first book right now, but I
Yeah,
still I
also,
still have to go over that threshold of, okay, editing and publishing.
yeah, yeah. It's a kind of a big leap. It's a leap of faith.
Mm,
You have to have trust in yourself, but yeah, it's always hard um, to get a story out there. And yeah, I don't know how it's for you, but when I write a story, I put a lot of myself in there, a lot of my emotions, a lot of my soul. And if you publish that story, then you actually do like, here's my soul.
yeah, it is, because I remember, and we talked about this. Uh,
Yeah.
I used to write a little bit for articles for a Star Trek website, a fan website, and somebody would edit them for me, and I couldn't get that, and I said, "Oh, this is my story. I don't want to change it, etc., etc." And we talked about that. And it is, you need to give
Yeah, you need to
let
let it go, and you
yeah,
need to trust the people around you, your editor, your translator, your publisher, my Dutch publisher. Um, yeah, your beta readers, they all have an opinion
mm,
about the story. And in the beginning, it's kind of hard.
it is.
It's uh, yeah, to uh, get over yourself and yeah. really have to calmly look at it from their perspective.
Mm.
And that's very hard to do, but it's necessary because as a writer, you are so invested in the story
Yeah.
that um, yeah, you miss little mistakes
Yeah.
eventually, and yeah, they see them,
Mm.
and that makes the story better.
Mm.
So yeah, you have to let it go at some point.
Yeah. So, where did the inspiration for Dragon Duma comes from, or where did you get the inspiration from?
Well, ever since I was little, I am a really big daydreamer. I'm easily bored. I was easily bored with school. I was easily bored with social gatherings. So then I would, yeah, dive within myself and start daydreaming and about other worlds and adventures and just stuff like that. And now I'm grown up and I still do that. So I was looking at a field across from my home, and I thought by myself, what if a dragon would land on that field? And that dragon would take me to a other world and show me all these amazing things, and I would have this big adventure. So that was the first scene of Dragan Duma. And yeah, the story kind of
Develop.
develops from that point, and it's gonna take their own turns, and the characters are doing their own things, and it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And but I wasn't planning on doing something with it. It was just when I was bored, I was dreaming about it, and I got sick, and I had to stay home for quite some time, and I was bored again because at some point you have read enough books and see a lot of TV series, and then you get bored
Yeah.
because there wasn't anything I could do. I just sat on my couch and I was bored. So my husband said, here, you have a laptop, you have a story in your head, go type it out. So I did that. And when it was finished, he said, okay, we're going to look for a publisher. And I was look, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah. I know that.
no, 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 no. Because I was so scared to share my story with other people. But I got over myself and I took that leap of faith. And now I have this to show for it. So
Yeah.
I'm quite happy
Yeah.
I took that leap of faith. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I think I told you that too. I love this series, guys, so much that it inspired me myself to write as well, because I always have written fantasy, and I always have written um, fan fiction, but never published or whatever. And she was telling me, get over it, just do it. And yeah, with all the following, the first book is ready.
Yay!
So yeah, can you tell my listeners a little bit of what the story of Dragon Duma is, from four books, of course, what we have?
Okay, I can start with the standalone because that's the one
Yeah.
that's translated. And it tells the story of Phoenixa. And Phoenixa is growing up to be a lady of the castle and to rule over the lands and the commoners living there. Um, the dragons have escaped our world because dragons, in a long, long time ago, they lived here in our world, but the magic was fading, so they had to, yeah, move to another world, and that's Takanduma. And yeah, they want to live there, just live their lives and not being bothered. But there are creatures on Draganduma called Morbids, and they're not nice. They want to take what's not theirs, and yeah, they are very violent. So they fight with humans, but they also fight with dragons like. So the dragons and the people come to an understanding and they create a magical bond, an unbreakable bond between uh, a man or a woman and a dragon. And uh, they become a dragon and their knights, dus dragon knights. And they protect the people and the dragons of Dragan Duma from the Morbids. So Phoenixa is growing up to be the lady, but of course there is a little something different about her, and that's why she got chosen by Danalet. Danalet is a green dragon baby. Dragons choose their humans when they're in the egg, and they won't bond with any other human than the one they've chosen. So Phoenixa has to leave their family and her duties behind and become a dragon knight. Um, and that's eventually where Unbreakable Bond is starting the
Mm-hmm.
story of Phoenixa and Danalet. And an Unbreakable Bond is different from other dragon books, I think, because the dragons have a very big voice in my books.
Yeah.
Part of the story is told by Dasrach, and Dasrach is a black dragon. So part of the story is told by Felix, and part of the story is told by a wild dragon called Dasrach. So I think that's the difference between Dragan Duma and other dragon fantasy books, is that the dragons are uh, whole characters.
Mm,
They
yeah.
have their own opinions, they have their own dreams. Yeah,
And I think that,
together.
yeah, I think that is the great thing of the series of Dragon Duma. That's why I always, and I told you that. I have started written my own fan fiction of Dragon Duma, and that's the bond between Roan, Jill, and Moradet. And I always have loved that, like the teachers, but also like family, and that's more. So, but that's what I love about your dragons in your book. They are not the superficial character. It's like a deep grown emotional being, and that's what I love about it. That's why I I think I read Dragon Duma series at least once a year to to get more inspiration, you know.
Yeah,
And for my listeners, you know that I have a spaniel puppy, and you have heard him for much. And his name is Moradad, and that's why Moradad, the name Moradad, is coming from Dragon Duma.
yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I can't help it, Patty. It came in my head, and it won't go away. So yeah, Moradad it is.
Yeah.
Um. Well, is there? Yeah. Well, you already answered that question a bit. So I want to ask, how did you decide to write the book and, of course, publish it? But you already told that a bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I have to say I was very lucky. Uh, because yeah, I was a debut author. I never had, yeah, I have written things, but I never shared it with anyone. So uh, yeah, it's kind of hard to be a debut writer and get traditionally published.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was very lucky. Of course, I had rejections because that's part of the game. I had rejections, but I also had three publishing companies who would like to publish my book. So I was very, very lucky girl because I had a choice. And the reason I chose for Celtica Publishing was because of Rianne, the boss of Celtica Publishing. She was so invested in the story right from the beginning, and she was so enthusiastic, and it gave me a very warm feeling, and I was like, okay. what we talked about before, that it's so hard to let go of the story
Yeah.
and give it to someone else. But because of uh, how she treated the story, I was okay.
Mm.
I would I would leave my story in your care. I feel good about that. So, and I am very happy I made that choice.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I didn't meet her, but I with the milk confidence we got because she was a little late. But I already pre-ordered that. What one was it? Second or the third? Third, I think. I pre-ordered that, but she totally was forgotten me, and so I mailed her. And we had a little bit of correspondence. So yeah, I think she is very nice, and I think you did make a good choice with her.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm
tell,
very happy about it.
so
It's
tell,
just, yeah,
go on.
sorry.
Sorry.
No, no, you go. It's your show.
No, I lost my question.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, what did I want to ask? I don't remember. Say what you wanted to say.
Okay.
I have to.
What I was going to say is because Katka Publishing is a small publishing company, they don't do foreign rights.
Mm,
So, um, yeah, I really wanted my books to get out there, out in the world, instead of only in the Netherlands and Belgium, because I'm very happy with my Dutch and Belgian readers. But yeah, I also wanted my dragons to
fly.
fly. Yeah. So I tried a lot of publishing companies and I tried a lot of agents, and I found a great translator. She's Scottish,
Mm,
Caroline Mackey, and she translated the book for me. So I had the translation and I had the ambition um, to yeah get it out there. And uh, I got a lot of rejection letters that were stating from, oh, we love the story, we love the world, we love the dragons, the characters, it's awesome, but we're not gonna do it. And I always wondered why, but they never told me. So yeah, earlier this year I decided from, okay, I'm gonna do it myself. I have the translation. I know a little bit about publishing. Um, I didn't know enough. I can tell you. Had to learn very, very quickly, a lot very, very quickly. But it was an amazing adventure, and it's almost completed because on the 1st of July, an Unbreakable Bond will be available in the whole world. So through Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Kobo, yeah, a lot of marketplaces. So I'm very, very excited, and I really hope that the rest of the world will love Dragan Duma as much as the Dutch and the Belgian readers do. Um, but it's also very, very scary
I can
be-
imagine that.
because now so much more people can read the stories,
Yeah.
and I'm convinced that not everyone will like the story,
Mm.
but I just hope that a couple will. So
So
there it is.
I must say, I always I always promote your books because I love them, really love them.
Yeah, thank you.
And one of the reasons I did this also in my podcast is because I already have a another episode that I did in, I think the second of I think the third one. I already did about Dragon Duma, but that was the time that we couldn't meet up and have this interview. So I'm very happy that we could meet now, and I'm really going to promote for you here in England and to the whole UK. So you can
Thank
count on
you.
me. You can count on me.
Yay!
And if we maybe if there is something like a festival you like to go stand up, I can stand for you there with the books, etc. If you want to. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
that would be nice.
Well, like I said, I read the books at least once a year. I love the story, especially yeah, just with Jill and the whole Dragan Duma and dragons on the world. So we have a lot of festivals like Alvia and Days to Say, etc. as well. So do you need one someone here
Yay!
in England?
I will look you up and we can go together.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. And then we dress up Moradad as Moradad, and then he can be there as a little dragon. Oh my god, that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, it will.
So which character was the easiest to write, and which one was the hardest to write?
um, I think they all have their. I didn't like. I still don't like to write from the bad guy's point of view.
Yeah.
So that's why I usually write in first person.
Mm.
I do that with my main characters, human and dragon alike. But I didn't. There is a bad guy in the uh, three books about jail, and one of the books I wanted to give the reader his perspective, but I didn't want to be in his head as much. So I couldn't get myself to write in his part of the story in first
Person, yeah.
person. So that's why I chose not to, because that was too hard for me. But it's also first person is very nice to write because you can really dive into the character,
Yeah.
but it's also very hard to write because you have to feel all the feelings and the emotions and everything the character goes through. And with all my characters, like I said, I put a lot of myself in the stories, and I put a lot of myself in the characters. So sometimes it gets really, really close, the emotions, the feelings, and I'm uh, there's more than once that I was really crying while writing a specific scene. And yeah, well, it's a war on Dragan Duma with the Morbids, so there are people and dragons dying, and that's hard to write because yeah, those are very heavy emotions. And yeah, well, Jill and Phoenixa both have a past, and they both have anxiety and fears, and you have to feel all that while writing a story, and that's that sometimes is very hard. Uh, but it's also a great way to write things off.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
yeah, you process things while writing, and yeah, you feel lighter when you have written that scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
noticed that.
I think that's the hard part of writing, and also a very great part of writing.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Writing has always helped me, so I know what you mean.
yeah, it's like therapy.
Yeah, it is. It is essentially.
Yeah,
But yeah, you twist it around for like a story, and that's personally. I know what
yeah.
you mean. I know what you mean. Um, was there any character that you absolutely like and adored, and you would say that was really an enjoyment to write the character, and I could write a lot of more books about her or him or it.
Um, yeah, I love the dragons.
Yeah,
I absolutely adore the dragons, and it's so much fun to get inside a dragon's mind and see the world through their eyes.
yeah,
Because, um, yeah, there are no, you don't have restrictions.
yeah,
It's a mythical creature, and yeah, you can go so many ways. What is the dragon thinking? What is he doing? What's important to the dragon and what's not important to the dragon, but is very important to humans? And that's a lot of fun to play around with.
yeah.
So that's why I had um, I had written a couple of chapters from the point of view of Maradet.
Mm,
And when I started writing An Unbreakable Bond, I wanted to get the dragons even more involved. So that's why I started to write chapters from Dasrach's point of view. And I had really, really fun writing that. Uh, Another character I really liked writing was Phoenixa
mm.
because she starts out as this arrogant um lady who is accustomed to everyone uh, yeah be at her service, and then she becomes a dragon knight and she learns how
The other
hard
side.
how hard she had to work um, when you're not a lady of the castle. So her development was a very fun process to write. And yeah, I think she's very clever and very strong-willed, and yeah, I like that about characters. So yeah, she was fun to write.
Good.
And also from the original series, uh, Yako. It's just
Ah.
this little, yeah, happy little bouncing ball that's goes through the story, and yeah, I really enjoyed writing him.
He reminds me of which one was that? I thought that was that How to Train Your Dragon. I can't remember. There was one of the movies or books that there was a character like Yako, and as soon as you start talking about Yako, I always see him.
Okay. Yeah, I always see a little brother of a friend of mine,
Mm,
um, which I used to shape the character of Ayako. He also is so enthusiastic and always full of
bouncy.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Um, what I always love about fantasy writing is that you can go wherever you go, and I notice with if you have more serious subjects like horror, or you have to stick in a certain um, box with um, um, sorry guys, my brain has a freeze through moment again because I'm still thinking in Dutch and I have to translate it in English. So we both have that. um, it's the reality that you need to keep on point. And with fantasy writing, I always think you can go wherever you want to go because it is fantasy and you can create your own world, etc. And I am in the process to write my own first fantasy book right now. And so my first book, what I wrote, was spiritual. Now I'm gonna go my first fantasy book, and it's about a lichen and a witch who are living in this world, in our world, and are homicide detectives, and they have to solve a murder of a high wizard that is on the who had was hiding in our world, and they have to go to a parallel world to connect the dots. So At the
Okay, that
moment,
sounds interesting.
I
I want to read it.
at the moment I'm world building in a large perspective. So I think already a notebook like this full of notes and everything. You know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know.
So, what I really love about the fantasy world is that you can go wherever you go and create whatever you want to. And I think that's what you see in Dragon Duma is just you are describing the world so good that you can see it in your head. And
Thank you.
no, it is because that's what why I have. But because I also have, for example, read the Christopher Paolini series with Aragorn.
Yeah.
And but if you see that with him and series, your series is more invested in how you can also see it. And what I really love about what you say also about the dragons, you can feel the emotions, you can see where they're thinking, and because what's the bad guy's name again?
Morbid
Uh,
song.
yeah, I hated him from the start. I hated him from the start, and then um, of course also with Skylar, that relationship with Jill, and but also with him. Him didn't in the first part hadn't a dragon eye line, you know, and then you put him in. He has one. He's got a golden line, and it was very interesting also because um, I have that a bit in my fan fiction written, but the leaders of damn it, no, I forgot the name of the. Where is it? Not Dragonstone, but I forgot the name of the dragon city.
No Dragonstone?
Jill wasn't on Dragonstone, right?
Hello.
That's
Yes, she
Jill.
was. Sorry. I'm going back to forward to Dutch and English.
But that it is so nice to see how you also write about the leaders dragons because I could imagine it. It's like a movie in my head. That's how I read it. So you did a really good job at that.
Yay! Yeah, well, when I'm writing, it's like I'm there, or it's like I'm watching a movie or playing in a movie. So to get that on the paper, so other people will experience the same. Yeah, that's what I want.
Well, you did it. Oh, wait a
I
minute.
must say, because he's the one who is reading the story before anyone else. I write the story and I never let anyone read it before it's done,
Mm,
except for my husband,
mm.
because he is not a reader. He hates reading. He doesn't like books at all. So when I can get him to like it, then I know I'm doing a good job. Because he's always like, this is so boring. I don't want to read it. Oh, action. Yes, I like that. So he makes it a roller coaster.
Mm.
And I have to bring him down a bit sometimes because otherwise my books were all action and no rest at all. But he does show me when I am going too far with
Mm.
explaining about the world, or and he's always show, don't tell, and yeah, he likes the cliffhangers after every chapter, the little cliffhangers, and so he makes me a better writer because of his constant uh,
Yeah.
moaning about the,
Thanks. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
story.
yeah.
So yeah, he's a big part of the process,
Mm.
and that's funny because he doesn't like books.
So before we start this recording, you show me something super, super, super nice. So if you can share that with us, what it is.
It's the English version of An Unbreakable Bond. This is it.
Looks really beautiful. Yeah.
So this is Phoenixa.
Mhm.
She's the lady of the castle, and you can see the dragons flying. Or you can see, I think, here a little necklace with a heart. Well, you have to read the story to understand
Yes,
it, but
yes, yes.
that's my way of. I like creating uh, covers that have little secrets hidden in them.
Yeah.
I can show you one of my other books that I created the cover for, and that's this one.
Ah, yeah.
And all these little elements
Mm.
are things that I have written in the story. So I like that.
You
And I
see,
was very, very nervous about creating this cover because I have such a beautiful cover in the Dutch version made by Dominique Bronick. And where is it? Here. This is the Dutch version.
yeah, I love that one.
And it's so beautiful. But I wanted something completely different for the English version. But uh, I have put the
Yeah.
picture inside the book, and another one I can show you that one as well is also uh, made by Dominique, and that's this one, which I love so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I have put elements from the original into the English version.
Mm.
So yay!
Yeah, yay! Hey,
Here.
now I have something to promote here. I started doing it already since when I came over to England. And yeah, guys, you need to read this because this is very fun and she is busy with the English translation. So yeah, I will be.
Finally.
Yeah. And every time I put my Dragon Duma t-shirt on, everyone say, "What is that?" So I have to tell you, that's out there with fantasy and Dragon Duma, you know. But it is fun because also they don't know where normally they say a dog's name. There's an explanation behind it. And when they say, what's his name? I say, oh, Moradat. Where the hell does that come from? And then I have to say, yeah, this and this and this from a book series.
You just say he's secretly a dragon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
not a real dog.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when is the English version gonna be published and where?
It's going to be published on the 1st of July because that's my mom's birthday. And I
Ah.
lost her last year. I
Mm.
lost both my parents last year.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
so I have chosen to publish the free story uh, that's prior to An Unbreakable Bond on the 2nd of June because that was my dad's birthday, and Unbreakable Bond on the 1st of July because that's my mom's birthday. So
Ah, yeah.
there it is.
Nice, yeah.
So you can all read the free story, totally free. Um, if you go to my site www.pattyvandelft.com,
I
You
will put
can
the
find
link.
a little link for Leap of Faith that will take you to Book Funnel. And only thing you have to do is click on the button Get My Book. You can fill out your email address. It will not be saved. I don't have a newsletter or anything, so it's just to get your book. You can choose for PDF, EPUB, all that kind of things. You can read it in your browser if you want. And it's totally free, no strings attached. And at the back of the story, you will find the first 2 chapters of An Unbreakable Bond, so you can see if the story is for you.
Nice, nice. Well, guys, I can assure you it will. um, of course, we met on Dutch Comic Con, and that's one of
Yes.
the Comic Cons in the Netherlands. But Patty, where are you standing more and signing?
Uh, well, I have a couple of signing sessions in Holland this year. Sadly, not in Belgium yet. Um, but I'm at Kesselfest in Lisse, a Keukenhof. And that's a very, very nice festival. It's a fantasy festival, and there's music and a very big medieval market, and there are lots of things to do. So, yeah, if you are in Holland for the first weekend of August, you should really go to Kesselfest because it's such a lovely fest and such nice people overall. And yeah, it's just my favorite festival. I'm also yeah Historisch Zoetermeer.
Hmm.
Somewhere at the end of the year, there's another fantasy fest in the Broodfabriek in Rijswijk. Also at the end of the year, and there is in Tilburg from the bookstore Anderwereld. There's an um, how do you say that in English? Convention.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it's called, and that's very funny, Fantastic Reads and Where to Find Them. So that's funny. And
Yeah.
I will be there too to sign. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sign my books in England someday. So yeah,
Who knows? Who
who
knows?
knows?
One thing I like to say to you guys, when we met, and I thought was that your the first book was already out, the She Who Hears. Um, but you were dressed up as your characters, and
Yes.
I loved that. Your cosplay was so awesome. I think I still have a picture of that somewhere. But it was so super nice to see that you dressed up one of your characters because it was you dressed as Jill,
Yeah.
and it was really nice to see that the author was also being the character. So I think there were not much writers who doing that on comic cons or
Well, I see the last years on Castlefest, there are more and more authors who also dress up for the
oh
fest. So that's nice to see. Yeah. You know, I always say I'm a reader first
mm,
and a writer second.
mm.
So I love books. I love fantasy. I was already going to Castlefest before I was a writer. So yeah, when I become a writer, and it was my very first time on a festival, I was like, yeah, but I still want to dress up, kind of,
Yeah,
because I like it so much.
yeah, me
And
too.
yeah, I just love being on fairs and comic cons and festivals. So yeah, I thought, why not? So I started to dress up for signing sessions. Uh, Also, when I was in a bookstore or signing session, I was also dressing up because I am a fantasy author. So yeah, I like dressing up,
I know
and
how
I
you
still
feel.
yeah, and I'm also very much in love with steampunk.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
And so I am
Well,
writing a steampunk series now.
okay. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna give you a reason to come to England then. There's a big steampunk Dickinson festival here. A
Yeah, I
big one.
know.
And
I want to go there someday. Yes, I want to go there.
we'll go
And
together.
yes, we can
Yeah,
go
yeah,
together. It would be so much fun.
yeah. Yes.
Um, but I really love steampunk, and that's this series actually.
Yeah.
Two
I want to
books,
talk
Circus
about
on the
that. Yeah.
Way. And yeah, one of the reasons I started writing steampunk fantasy is because there are not a lot of Dutch books
No.
um, that are steampunk fantasy, and not a lot of people in Holland know what steampunk is. So I took on myself to uh, create something about that, and yeah, I really like. I can dress up in steampunk
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I had that with my first Star Trek cosplay was Dr. Crusher, but I wanted a variant of that. So I came out with a variant of a steampunk Dr. Crusher. So I had the ruffle.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I still have it
I need
somewhere.
to see that picture. I need to see it.
It's yeah, it's you know, and I think people like us, it's just like we love to be in the fantasy world, and we love to be dressing up of it, and you know, I think in one way when you dress up like Jill, you promote also your books with it. You know, it's just like yeah, why not? The world is all negative enough, so let's bring some positivity in it.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. And one thing I've learned in my years of being a writer is that you have different kind of readers. You have readers who just want a fun story, who just want to, yeah, read a book, and you have readers who really like to be in another world because this one is sometimes so harsh.
True.
And sometimes I get messages from people who are like, "Thank you so much for this story. It gave me an escape from my life, which is not very fun right now." And those messages humble me so much because, yeah, that's those people. Um, they can have my soul and they can have my heart and everything I put in my books because they're right. It's not a fun world sometimes. And yeah, I can, if I can give someone something, they can have a little break from this uh, harsh life sometimes, then I am very, very happy. So yeah.
But you did that already with the first Dragon Duma book, not the Unbreakable Bond, but She Who Hears. Um, you you let Jill being in our world with that she is an orphan and etc. And then she made the Dragon Riders and Rune. I love Rune. I even
I
have.
love room
Oh,
too.
I'm gonna shock you a little bit for this one. I play a game, Star Trek Online, and I have a character with Rune, and his whole team is based on Dragon Duma.
Oh, that's so
His
awesome.
his his starship called Mordet 2.0.
That's awesome. I like that so much.
Sorry, I had to do it. It was the first. It is my second tune that I created, and I was so invested in Dragan Duma that I was saying, okay, I'm just going to do it. Rune is the main character. His team is also other um, characters from the book, and then of course the starship has to be more than that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
So now you know how much I am invested in Dragon Duma.
Yeah,
My dog
almost
is.
as much as me.
So where can people find you on social media and of course your website? I will put the links in the description, by the way. So
Okay. Well, my site is www.pattyvandelft.com, and there you can find a little English flag, and if you press that, you go to the English. Uh,
version.
yes, the English version, because yeah, it's also a Dutch site because I'm Dutch.
Mm,
You can find me on Facebook, Patty van Delft, and on TikTok, Patty van Delft, and on Instagram, Patty van Delft. So I'm not that hard to find.
yeah, I must say I love your TikTok videos. Oh, normally I hate TikTok, but you have those little reels and TikTok videos that you post, and I'm saying yeah, especially I think that was a few days ago of you ending up a story and deadlines, and then you have to boom shelf of your whole room, and then you
Oh,
clean it.
oh my God. My workspace was really, there was an explosion. There was so much chaos going on. I have a very chaotic mind, and I'm always doing a lot of things at the same time, but I never clean up in between. So uh, my whole workplace was cluttered with everything. So I really needed to clean up because my mind was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like TikTok because yeah, it's a lot of little scenes that you play, and I really like doing that. I've always liked yeah, playing little scenes and things like that. And yeah, it's a great way to find new books. It's not good
Mm.
for your wallet. It's not good at all. I have bought so many books because of TikTok. I'm embarrassed how many books I bought because of TikTok. But yeah, it's good fun.
Um, is there something you like to add about Dragon Duma?
Yeah, just I hope that whoever is listening would give it a try, and I hope you will like it.
Well, Betty, thank you very much for joining me and joining
Thank
us.
you so much for the invite.
Well, it was always in my mind, and I always said I need to get her for this episode because she can better tell it yourself than, of course, I can do it too. But it is just like, yeah, this is just so much fun.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago, or like it was a very long time ago. You first asked me, and then there was a whole lot
Whole,
happening
yeah,
in my life, and I just couldn't find time. So I'm very, very happy. This time nothing came up, and I could be here because it was great fun. Thank
yeah,
you.
it is, it is, and once again, guys, um, give it a try. You will, if you love fantasy worlds, if you love dragons, if you love good face bad, yes, give it a try. Give it a try. Um, if you want to have more reference, just call me. I will give you the reference. So, Patty, thank you very much, and I hope to talk to you soon. Stay.
Yes. Thank you.
So, guys, thank you for listening once again. And in another 2 weeks, of course, another episode of Orinda Talks. I hope you can join me then again. And the next episode is also another subject to my heart. That is the reason I started to tap dance, and I'm gonna talk about the old tap musical movies. And maybe you're gonna say, oh, like La La Land. Yeah, well, La La Land was nothing comparing with the old great dance musicals. So I hope to see you then. And of course, you can like, subscribe, and share. Of course, I would really appreciate that. Orinda Talks on the YouTube channel, and of course, you can comment on there. Or if you say, I like to do an episode about this episode, don't be scared to share it with me. So you can always put it in the YouTube channel comments, or of course you can join the Facebook group, and also there you can comment on the episodes. Well, you also know I have another podcast that called Build Code Talking Track, and of course it's 2 trackers, me and a friend from Canada who also is a big tracker. Um, and we are recapping every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek, and we are now in starting the beginning of the season 3 TNG. So it's gonna be more fun. And well, as you know, all the episodes will be recapped and chronically following. And you can't, of course, listening to Ghost on Track and follow and subscribe, of course, on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, or on your favorite podcast app. We are in a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, the famous one. And every 10th episode will be an episode of a video episode, so you can see us, what I think you guys like. And it's just yeah, it's just our favorite time to do. And we love your comments. Talk with us about the episode we are recapping, because that's we love to hear your opinion. And of course, Ghost Talking Track also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook group. I see you in 2 weeks. Bye.